Hello everybody, how's everyone day? I'm Mekakita. Just to give you guys a new update on this Johnny Somali. Well, he F out. And when he F up, the Japan police actually F him even more up. So in regards that, as you guys can see on the screen, that he got arrested again. So the funny thing is that he was actually arrested for unauthorized kid stream in restaurant, meaning to say that not just that. Basically, his what he did previously again was that he got arrested again for forcible obstruction of business, something that is actually a crime in Japan and a lot of people is not aware of, and we'll talk about that in a while. But just to recap for everyone in regard who is this Johnny Somali, and also to all the new viewers, I'm Ameka Kita, the casual retailer, and normally I don't do this kind of introduction, but if you do like this kind of contents and kind of like want more to talk about random type of video or topic around, yeah, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more this kind of random stuff. But in regards that Johnny Somali was actually a very infamous in Japan for causing a lot of nuisance or disturbance, or even go around and causing trouble for Japanese people in Japan for the past few months, and that with many content creators kind of like condensing his action, he was unhinged and he still continued with his terrorism. But the funny thing is that despite many people giving second chance again and again, to the point of having a Yakuza causing him to kind of like doing the kneeling down position which called the Gozeza, or even to the point of people even slapping him or giving him a knockout punch, he still continued with his ridiculous action, going around causing trouble, to the point that he was finally arrested in September for wearing a mask and actually entering into the construction site in Japan, and that he was later arrested on the night itself by a group of police, and that while he was arrested, he actually kept silent and also at the same time requested for a lawyer. The funny thing I mentioned in my previous video, and again, if you guys want to know more of my previous video, don't worry, I'll put all the video link that I talk about this idiot in the description below, so you guys can check that out later on. But in regard is that I actually put up all a few things that people need to take note, and that is a limit to how much they can keep him in custody. So meaning to say that he can't be like in the police station all the time. He will have to get released, and that for around they had stated that it was 28 days, so this is already October, so there was a new update. So he was finally technically like released, but he was re-arrested again. So I'm gonna assume that he kind of like, the police was like, yeah, we're gonna let you go, because I'm gonna assume that because for the duration of his arrest, Johnny Somali really kept silence throughout, and the police can't do anything about that. But the funny thing is that he did a lot of things. Like I mentioned, a lot of people give evidence, more information about what Johnny Somali did and causing a lot of trouble. So the thing is, right, those crimes are now starting to get back and bite him in the butt. What do that mean? Well, the funny thing is that one of the evidence was that he actually caused obstruction of business in one of the restaurant, and that evidence was finally booked against him, meaning to say that I will talk about what kind of punishment he will get and what kind of rule did he actually go against. That he actually caused trouble, and at the same time, the police decided just, okay, we shall F you out. So I'm kind of like assume that the police kind of like wait until the maximum day of the arrest that they have to release him, and then on the day itself they just kind of like, okay, you are free to go. Oh wait, chotto mate, we are going to arrest you for another crime. So I don't know, I mean, like, probably because of that, and he just kind of re-arrested because he didn't like go and put up a new stream or video or whatsoever, and he just got re-arrested again. It's like the police just gonna F him up. So it's, in a sense, a lot of people in Japan kind of like put forth that the Japan police are now throwing him. Is it really true or not? I do not know. But the thing is, right, they actually put forth all evidence, and that he did something again and that he had evidence against him again. Like I mentioned, all he did really putting all evidence in a gold platter to the police of Japan, and that he actually F himself up. So the police is not going to F him up. So what is the issue with obstruction of police? Previously I mentioned when he entered the construction site, that is called trespassing. Trespassing in a sense is that you can get jailed up to 3 years and a few fine. But on top of that is that trespassing is a crime. And what he did is, for the restaurant, did he did something similar? Yes, indeed, he did. Meaning to say that he actually did something along the line of trespassing. But the thing is, right, for his case for the restaurant, is a whole new different crime, and that the crime is called forcible obstruction of business. What does that mean? Well, just to show you guys the one of the Japan law in regard is that for Article 234, a person who obstruct the business of another person by force is dealt with in the same manner as the in the preceding article, meaning to say that is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 3 years or a fine of not more than 500,000 yen. Again, another 3 years. So I'm gonna assume that based on what you guys might see, although not the full words, but the word indicate that what Johnny Somali did was, and like I mentioned, is chargeable, was that he kind of like did along, because it was actually posted on Mainichi for, like I mentioned, a legit, like he got a the funny thing is that he was handed a fresh arrest warrant on August 12th for allegedly filming inside an eatery without permission and playing loud music. And the thing is, I gonna based on more article from that told that he actually kind of go to the point of like shouting Fukushima repeatedly when he entered the construction site. And for the possible thing is that he kind of like broadcast the inside of the restaurant in Osaka again. I'm like, wow. And a person who can't be more idiot became even more idiot. So the disrupting of business of restaurant in Osaka is that it kind of like they are like apparently like entering the kitchen while streaming and playing loud music. So here is the two things you guys have to understand. Entering the kitchen with, I'm gonna assume that he entered without permission. Again, it's called under the trespassing. But because he kind of like kind of like going to the point of like disrupting the business flow of the restaurant. That is considered not just trespassing, it's gonna cause obstruction. So when that actually happened, it is punishable by law. It's a crime, and like you guys saw, there is a article in the law indicating that it's a crime and that he had did something. So no more than 3 years, meaning to say that if the police decide to put forth another 3 years on top of the trespassing for the construction site, if it is I'm not sure is it concurrent or subsequent one. So basically, that if he may get faced up to a total of 6 years, or 3 years if both are charged under the same rule. So meaning to say that if he's being charged for both two different charges at for different cases, it means that 3 years and 3 years means 6 years. But like I mentioned, we are not sure is it a concurrent or subsequent. So we need to say that he may be charged for both case. He may be found guilty for both cases. But that is, like I mentioned, it can be 3 years maximum. But at the same time, it can also mean that like since the rule indicate that not more than 3 years, he can also be jailed for up to 1 or 2 years depending on the situation. So based on what I'm looking at it is that he's being charged for the police are trying to charge him for as many as possible. So we need to say that a lot of people are hoping that many people are putting more forward more of his crime in Japan. Like I mentioned long ago, the police are collecting evidence against him. People are putting evidence against him forward already, and that the more evidence against him, the more he's really getting his out. It in Chinese we could say 吃牢饭, which actually mean that he'll be eating rice in the jail for the rest of his life, or the maximum penalty that he'll get. But the thing is, right, It's kind of interesting, like in regards that like I mentioned you guys mentioned to you guys is that there is a law called forcible of obstruction. So that is the number one case that they are putting out for is that the obstruction of business. The loud music, I know some people I know Sora the troll actually mentioned along the line like he got arrested for loud music. Well, technically true and false at the same time. But what a lot of people in Japan, like even a Japanese is not aware, is that there is actually a rule, and it's a very funny rule that I come across when I was living in Japan on my second year actually, when one of my neighbor actually informed me about such rule. So what rule is that? Well, in Japan, there is actually a rule called noise regulation. Well, because the place I stay was actually more towards the factory side, a few part is more towards the factory side, so that they have like the tea factory, there is a bread factory, all these things. So the thing is right, they are very very quiet despite of being called a factory. So actually one of my neighbor actually told me in regard is that there a rule put out in quite a long while ago that it became so norm that people actually tend to think that it's the norm in Japan that Japan is a very quiet place. In fact, it's not just that is not the case. There is actually a rule called the noise regulation law in Japan. One of them in under miscellaneous provision is that the regulation of nighttime noise, etc. Meaning to say that, like in this case, for the regulation of noise caused by an announcement of use of loudspeaker and noise emitted during the nighttime operation of bar and restaurant, it is considered chargeable. There is a penalty for it. So for this article, there is a very funny law that again punishable for not for 1 year or a fine of not more than 100,000 yen. So and that is and meaning to say that depending on the situation, they can either get fined or they can get kind of like get jail. But the thing is right, it depends on the situation that and it's only for the estimator of Article 12. So basically I'm gonna assume that Article 32 and 33 will be the one where they will be where this Johnny Somali may get fined. So does that mean anything that really gets jail? Well, I'm gonna assume that people are going to put him to jail with the reason why noise law, that although he was arrested for noise law, like there is actually like even a lot of people go along and say like even Sora actually mentioned on the line that people don't get arrested for making noise. Yes, the only thing is that the only thing like a lot of people will go towards a noisy place is that the police will just go and talk to you. That's all. Like if the noise is too loud, the people will put up a complaint to the building management, or maybe in public they will just call the police. At most, when the police go, it's just that the police will caution the people creating noise to try and be quieter in future. That's all. They won't arrest you for that. So the thing is right, there is a law in Japan, and I know Sora actually mentioned that along the line, but that's not the truth that you can get arrested for making noise. In fact, there is actually a law indicating that the person can be punished. But often more than not, like I'm living in Japan for 6 years and 3 months, I have seen people actually telling me about such law, and I actually I even asked with a policeman when they actually come and visit me, like for kind of like checking on other place, checking on stuff and information, because I don't happened something bad happened to like in the past in my neighborhood area, so they kind of like go around checking around everything. So the thing is, I remember kind of like I was actually asking them like if that I make a loud noise and will I get arrested for it. Apparently they told me that they won't, but they will actually kind of give warning and ask you to be quieter in the future, and that I was like, oh, omoshiroi shiranai. So I wasn't aware, but the thing is, like, it's still they actually mentioned that it's still punishable by law. So meaning to say that you can still technically get arrested. But the thing is, right, what you guys need to know is that getting arrested for making loud noise, and most will warn you to the police station and have a chit chat with the police, but that doesn't mean much. So I'm gonna assume that this guy, Johnny Somali, got arrested for like a much heavier crime, like I mentioned, which be obstruction of business because he did kind of trespass into the place itself. So I believe this is the more actual case being put forth against him. But the thing is, like I mentioned, really subsequent or concurrent, that will be a whole new different thing based on the charger put against him, and I'm gonna assume that he did not have a chance to meet with a lawyer, and you guys will be like, oh yes. Well, like I mentioned before, he won't get to meet a lawyer that easily. The thing is, right, my advice to him, if or anyone who actually gonna represent him, please don't. At the same time, anyone want to help him, don't think about it. What you guys gonna do is gonna encourage him, and then people are gonna know who you are, and people are going to find you and have a chat with you. Maybe, I don't know. If you press decide on this button, I will know who are the one who create all this trouble. Because just to let you guys know that I had received a few dislike on my video, okay guys, on my previous video when I was talking about this idiot. So is it really a good thing? Well, this just proves to the whole world that there are some people who are encourage this kind of thing. So we are not sure more update on whether any more update on him based on that. The police are actually kind of effing him out. So it's kind of interesting, like I mentioned in my live, not a few times in my live stream, and at the same time, more on my previous video was that he basically put evidence on a gold platter and they give it to police. So the thing is, right, the police, from how I'm gonna look at it, is that they are kind of like playing the law against this Johnny Somali, because you guys have to understand that he had been terrorizing for months, and that when he finally got arrested, people were celebrating. But what a lot of people is not aware is that he can't get he can still technically get released after the limit is up, and that they won't actually charge him that easily. So I'm going to assume that the police are going to lock him out as long as possible, so that he can so that they can prevent him from creating more trouble when he got released. So if you look at it, this whole situation where he finally got rearrested is like, I gonna assume that the police are doing everyone a justice by making this guy get locked up as long as possible. But like I mentioned, how long can they lock him out will depend on the evidence that is put forward against him. It's kind of interesting that the two law that is put forward against him is that despite having a noise law in Japan that not a lot of people, even the Japanese, are aware of, that is actually along the line of like obstruction of business. Trespassing is another type of different law, and I know a lot of people go along the line like, is making loud noise in Japan chargeable but and arrestable? Well, it kind of like depend on the situation. I seen a lot of people like blasting music from their car or even playing loud music in the surrounding, and often more than not, some of those people like playing concert in the middle of the street, are they actually allowed? Well, often more than not, they do have the license to do so, and they are given the permission to do so. So those are still alright. But Johnny Somali have been creating trouble without permission. And like I mentioned, without permission, meaning to say that you did not ask for permission, you did not seek the approval or consent from the other party, and that you decided to cause this kind of trouble, yeah, we are gonna just throw you into the jail as long as possible, I guess. But is it really true that he can still cause trouble in when he got released? I'm not sure, considering that he doesn't seem to learn his lesson that much despite previous situation. So right now, like I mentioned, the police is finally going to F him out. How long can they do this? I'm not sure. But this news, from how I look at it, it seems to cause many people to wonder, like, is it really chargeable for having like making loud noise? Well, in fact, he was actually charged for a different situation, a different crime. But loud noise in Japan is still chargeable and consider that you either get a warning or you get a fine. So it kind of depends on the situation. Will he get more fine and got jail? Is kind of depend on the situation that the police are gonna put against him, the prosecutor or whatsoever. I don't know, but I think that's all the update. I know I talked a lot and let you guys have a new update on what kind of law that is put off. But it's like I mentioned, this idiot is just he F out so badly to the point that even police is going to F him out even worse. So we'll see how it goes. Considering that this is another crime put against him. Again, like I mentioned, there is a limit to how long his arrest warrant can last. So it depends. If there is another arrest, I will just say that it will be like I mentioned, the police are effing it out, but we are not sure. So we have to wait and see, and probably hopefully the next update will be around next month, maybe on November, based on that the arrest was for him was around in October. So we have to see it, wait and see, and kind of like see how like what kind of update will be given. If he kind of got released, that will be a whole new different story, but we'll see how it goes. Will he get deported or not is very hard to know at this time, because there is still no further update from the Lord, other than just they just rearrested him again. Anyway, that's all for now. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat, and we'll talk again at the next video live stream. With that being said, have a nice day or night. Goodbye.